Bleav in Everything Auburn is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting contests and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to Bet Online today to become part of the team and remember to use promo code Bleav for a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That is BLEAV. Bet Online. The game starts here. War Eagle, everyone. Welcome back to Bleav in Everything Auburn. I'm Taylor Davis. He's Jason Campbell. We're back for another week of who the heck knows, because last week went all kinds of ways that we weren't expecting. So you never know with Jay and I. And your girl is very tired, and I don't even have a newborn baby that I'm taking care of. So who knows where the conversation will go today. But we welcome you in and hope everyone had a great week. I know Jay had a good weekend because he got to go down to the Plains, see some basketball, see some baseball. I feel like it had been a minute since you had gone to Auburn, yeah?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Everyone was like, "Dude, where you been?" Because I do a lot of my work by
Dude, I had a
phone
kid.
everywhere, but I was just like, "Hey, other priorities kind of taking over." So, I just
Happens.
have to, yeah. But I enjoyed myself going to the basketball game. Got a chance to enjoy the game. As soon as the game was over with, snuck right over to the baseball game. Went in the box for a little bit. Talked with Brad and Paul on the radio set, as we called the baseball game. And they was asking me about my pitching days, and I was telling them about my pitching. I was breaking down some pitching and
Oh, yeah?
different things. And I just told them, I said, "Hey, what about this what about this shot clock or whatever they call it on the baseball pitcher?" They said, "Shot clock." They mean I said, "Hey, basketball. I just came from the basketball game. You
Oh,
got to give me
Jay.
up." So, but I had a good time.
How did both teams look in person?
Basketball, I tell you what, our defense is phenomenal. Um, I didn't realize how great we play defense until you actually see it up close in person. And we
Yeah,
can do it because of the depth that we have. Depth is so important for our basketball team, just because they can rotate guys in and out. And when you play defense as hard as they play, you need that rotation. And that really, shut down a Mississippi State, offense that can score at will, especially little number
right.
13, Hubbard. That cat can shoot it from anywhere. And first half, they really hunker down on him, make sure that he wasn't getting any easy looks. And of course, in the second half, he caught fire a little bit, but we pretty much had a game in control. So I like our defense. I really like the way they performed even last night. So I expect this defense to travel. And if our shooting can continue like it did against Georgia on the road and Missouri in the second half on the
Yeah.
road, this team can make a deep NCAA run. Now, baseball, they won the first game. And the second game I showed up, it was 8-3. They was getting beat. And I was just like, well, uh, this is not going good. So,
Mm-mm.
but they won the first double hitter and they got bases loaded in top of the six and wasn't able to get any runs out of that. But after that, I had to end up leaving. So I told him, I said, I was spent my max hours away from the house. It's time for me
Yeah.
to
Time
go
to
and
go
chill.
back.
And so I had a good time though. I forgot how awesome it is to be able to go from one game over to another game.
Yeah. That's always fun when those line up. I feel like there's always a few weekends in like February, end of February and March. How was the weather? It's so hit or miss this time of
Uh,
year.
the weather was awesome. Like
Oh, good.
70 degrees during the day. Then, of course, at nighttime, I had to throw on a leather coat because the weather dropped by 30 degrees. But I
Yeah.
tell you what, go to the baseball game, check out the Hall of Fame that they
Mhm.
just, it's really nice. If you ever go down there, a baseball game, go check it out. But it's definitely nice.
Cool. What was your best pitch?
Well, everybody likes to throw a fastball.
Of
That was
course.
my thing. That was, a strong arm
I
fastball. But
mean,
I
you're
tell
a
you what,
quarterback. I'm not surprised.
I had a nasty curveball though. I'm telling you,
Did you?
my curveball was nasty. And one thing I had to just give it up was because playing quarterback, people was afraid that overthrow causes
Yeah.
those, you know, that injury to that ligament in the elbow.
Yeah.
And
Tommy John?
Tommy John. So I was just like, Which one do I like better? So I like quarterback better. So I ended up sticking with quarterback. And I actually gave up baseball my ninth grade year. And
Okay.
baseball coach was pissed because I told
I
him,
bet.
if I can't play all three, man, I'm gonna stick with basketball and football. But
Because so you played
freshman,
basketball until you graduated.
mhm,
So baseball you gave up first.
yeah, I signed with Auburn to
Awesome.
play both sports. And of course,
When did that change?
right after my freshman year, redshirt freshman year, I go to the gym with Coach Ellis. They got my uniform, everything. I'm getting ready to go out and basketball practice. And here come Coach Tubbs and Coach Ellis having a conversation, on the side of the basketball court, and they looking at me while they're having this conversation. I'm like, well, this can't be good. I was just like, why, like, dude, I just left the football field. Like, this
Yeah.
basketball. I'm used to doing this. This is what I've been doing for the last 4 years.
Right.
Like, it's my season, it's my basketball time. And of course, after practice, Coach Ellis just like, man, you got to make a decision. Your coach wanted to make a decision. And he was just like, I'm gonna tell you what, now we really love you in basketball. He said, we really want you because you were one of our best shooters as a shooting guard. And he was just like, now if you want to stay, I'll fight for you to stay, which I've already been done. But they want you to make a decision because they say they need your leadership and everything. You want to be a 4-year starter and all of that type of stuff. So I ended up, that was a heartbreaker. I had to let basketball go. Me and
How
Carlos Dunn.
does that decision happen? And like you're in the gym, just a casual conversation between coaches that like
Yeah,
changes everything you expected your
yeah.
college experience was about to be like.
Right. I'm thinking I'm about to play basketball. Basketball's my mom's favorite sport.
Yeah.
So, I'm just like, and I was just as good in basketball as I was in football. So I could have went either way.
Was
And
there any thought of giving up football or that was a no-brainer?
it's a no brainer just because I'm like, man, it's nothing compared to 90,000 fans. And, but basketball was a hard give up, man. It was kind of
Yeah.
like you got to break up with somebody. It's like, hey, dang, basketball, I love you, but I
I
can't, I
don't
can't,
want to, but I have to.
I got to, and I
Yeah.
just I had to take basketball and drop her off at Chili's. So football got the 5-star restaurant, got the lobster and and steak, and basketball went to Chili's.
I'm
Yeah.
done. Oh my God, Jason, that might be the funniest thing you've ever said on a podcast. Wow. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I highly encourage you to do it. You may think we were on acid, but we weren't. We just went every which way with conversations, and there was a Chili's debate. So that's a throwback. Wow, that was hilarious. Basketball went to Chili's. Well, Godspeed. I'm sure someone else treated her right. You know what I mean? Speaking of dates, y'all, Jason and I are about to do in like an hour 15 from now. Somehow, our ADD conversation from last week's podcast landed us a guest spot on Reality Steve's podcast. And if you're a Bachelor fan, you know who Reality Steve is. He is somehow the spoiler guru. So Jason and I are about to call in and talk on his podcast. And I am a Bachelor aficionado and well versed. And I think Jason has watched one episode. So it should be nothing short of entertaining. And Jason just thinks the franchise is crazy. So I feel like
Yeah,
you'll have some hot takes though.
yeah, there's some hot takes. Come on, I'm a dude, I'm a man. What I'm
Yeah.
saying, and everything. But the thing is, like, there's no way. I have a daughter, so I have to be careful how I say this. No way I think I let my daughter go on the Bachelor show
Yeah.
if I know this guy's kissing 20 other girls and Mona was out there. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like, I want her kiss to be the special kiss.
I
You know what I'm
know.
saying? Like, and he's going around here, he's basically going around here taking, it's a kissing game to figure out who kissed the best, and all this type of stuff. So, and then you got to sit down and go visit these families, and then the mom and the dad is over there trying to, you know, well, if you what do you feel about him? How you like him? And then she's like, well, I love him. And I'm like, how you love him? You don't really know him, like but you love him. And
Right.
and then it goes to then he's trying to, well, how what happens in the end, he's got to make a decision. And So basically, dude just get to go on all these fun trips. Like I just said, I saw the episode 2 nights ago. What's the day? Wednesday. Saw the
Yeah.
episode Monday.
It was
He went.
hometowns for
Yeah, he went
anyone
to
that
Hawaii.
watches.
Yeah. He went to Hawaii. And had fun there with the cultural and
They were
everything. It
in
was all
California. They weren't in Hawaii, but go ahead.
okay. So then see how much I know about the show. And then next I know he was in Toronto,
Yes.
and I guess they take a trip to Niagara Falls,
Yep.
and everything. So and then the next girl in between those two, I don't know where they was at, but they couldn't stop kissing each other. So I'm just like, dude,
Minnesota.
that's where you go. Then. Just go there. Like you can't stop kissing her. The other two you barely kissed them. You
You're
did more
so
talking.
hung up on this
Yeah,
concept.
so me. I was just like, kissing game show. That's all it is.
I mean, look, it really is a wild concept. It is for 2 months, it is acceptable for this person to cheat on everyone he's dating. And it's like,
It's a free cheat code.
and then
Like,
you end in a proposal. It is a crazy concept, but I have watched this show, I don't even know how many years. So if anyone here is a Bachelor stan, keep an eye out for Reality Steve's podcast with yours truly. No telling what that will entail. Okay, so basketball, let's talk a little bit more about that because they did, like you said, defeat Mississippi State while you were there. They did defeat Missouri on the road as expected. Missouri's not having a great year, but still you could not slip at this point, given some of the big losses that we've had in the last month. The bracket is affected most by the lack of success in quad one games, and we are currently 1-7 against quad one opponents. Quad two opponents were 8-0. Quad three, we're 9-0. Quad four, we're 5-0. Our only losses are the quad one. Now, we can be helped. We have one more regular season game. We've got Georgia at home this weekend. Again, that needs to be a win. If Mississippi State and or Ole Miss move up a few spots, if they have a compelling week here in the final regular season matchups, they could make those wins, one especially on the road in Oxford, quad one designations. So we could be helped by other people's results at this point. And obviously take care of business against Georgia, who you were able to go into Athens and beat pretty handedly. So that's kind of where things sit. The SEC tournament will be next week in your girls' home of Nashville. I will be attending. So if you're looking for any behind the scenes coverage, make sure you follow along because I'm going to be sharing a bunch of stuff while I'm there. But that will obviously be an insanely competitive and probably unpredictable tournament, especially given this year. But it's go time now, and the tournament is quickly approaching. Let me ask you this, as someone who follows it well and now has seen them in person, what aspect of this team is going to serve them well for a long run in the tournament? And what aspect of this team could be the Achilles heel and lead to a short run in the tournament?
the last 2 times we've had really good teams. We lost in the first round of the SEC tournament, and then we turned around and lost early in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And last year we did make it to the second round of the tournament. We played against a really good Houston team that we ended up losing to in Birmingham. But I like this team better than last year's team. I think this team has more cohesiveness. I think they're more together. We have definitely better outside shooting than we did a year ago. And what I think can help this team is if we shoot the way we did against Georgia and we shoot the way we did against Missouri and we shoot how we shoot at home, then you can definitely make a long run because we play defense and we're deep. Teams that go deep in the tournament are teams that can put their second bench in there and they don't miss a beat. And we're one of those teams. And when you think of as a whole, the ball got to go inside to Janai. And Janai's he's going to make them count. But then when he gets doubled, the kickouts are going to be there. And when those kickouts are there, we've got to make them count. And that's what happened in 2019 when we got hot and went on a run, was those guys was knocking down those outside shots. And I think this team, I just really wish we could have split one of those victories between Tennessee or Kentucky, because we would be playing down here at the stretch against Georgia with an opportunity hoping to be SEC regular season champs.
Yeah.
Because Alabama has kind of stumped their toe down the stretch here. They lost 2 in a row. So the door was open, and everything. But I really like where we're at as a basketball team. I think we're starting to click at the right times. So yes, this team can go deep in a tournament by playing defense and hitting outside shots.
And what would be the reason they wouldn't? What is the weakness that
They
could
wouldn't
creep
have
up?
the same thing that happened to us in the Houston game last year in the second half. Missed free throws, couldn't hit any outside shots, and that's what that they outplayed Houston in the first half. I'm
Yeah,
talking about, outplayed them. But in the second
right.
half, we hit free throws and we couldn't hit any outside shots,
Yeah,
and that what derailed us. So if we could play with the same intensity but do those two things, but those free throws are critical. We got
yeah,
to make
you're
sure
right.
free throws in the tournament.
I mean, that even crept up in our recent losses. So it's definitely a valuable point. And it was great to see Jalen Williams return sooner than we expected. We said on this podcast we didn't think he'd be out there for the Tennessee game, and he did. So that was great to see you get him back. Unfortunately, Berman suffered a knee injury and he is out for the remainder of this season. So, in terms of that depth that you were talking about, he's a guy that his playing time has increased as season went on. He hit a couple big shots in the last couple of games that I watched that before he got hurt. So that's an unfortunate loss, but you do get Jalen back, which is very positive. So I really, really hope that this team puts it together and goes on a special run. It's so much fun. I don't even know if you can quantify them as a dark horse anymore because we've just been such a solid program for years that it doesn't really surprise anyone anymore when Auburn shows up and makes it to third, fourth round, whatever. But I don't know that they have everyone's seal of confidence right now. I think no one really knows because of the discrepancies that we've seen over the last month. We're beating people by 20 or we're losing by 20. There is no in between. So which version are you going to get come go time?
I got 5 guys that got to show up.
Okay.
And one of the guys have played himself into the starting role, and he's been playing outstanding here lately. And that's Baker Mazar. He's if he continues to play the way he's playing, offensively and defensively,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna be a big reason. Number 2 is Denver Jones. Denver can shoot the lights out of it, and people don't realize how quick he is with the ball in his hand when he's actually playing the guard position of getting to the basket and creating a 3-point play by getting to the free throw line. So
Yep.
he's my other guy of why we can advance deeper. Dylan Caldwell, because Broom is going to have to come out of the game at some point. And when you get into these tournaments, there are always going to be bigs, and there's going to be another big that subs in. That's going to be a pretty good player.
Yeah.
So if Dylan can continue to play aggressive and not get himself in foul trouble early, because he needs to spare some of those fouls to be able
Yes.
to substitute later in games. He sometimes comes in and get 2, 3 real quick. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Right.
So he's going to be very critical. Just his defense of coming in and matching Jalen Williams, because Jalen, we know he can get to the basket, but
Mm-hmm.
can Jalen hit the outside shot consistently that
Yep.
teams want to give him in the tournament? Because in the tournament, you got to give up something. When
Yeah.
you game and you say, okay, what are you willing to give up? Most teams are willing to give Jalen that shot. So if he's knocking down that shot, it's going to make it hard for teams to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And my last one is Holloway. He's going to be handling the ball a lot in his hands. He's the guard. He plays a lot of unselfish, which is really good of him, the way that he plays the game, try to get everybody else involved. But he's going to be another one of those guys they're going to say, hey, dare him to shoot the 3. And
Yeah.
if he's doing it and he's making it, it's going to make a world of difference. Because now those guys come up to try to face guard him. He has the quickness to blow by him, which he can either get to the basket and score, or he can dish it because he's going to create guys to come to him, which is going to open up somebody's backside.
Right. Because when he's on, he's on. But he hit a stretch there where he was around like a 20 something percent shooter, and it certainly showed its impact. So I like all of those. I'm excited to see what they do. Again, our final regular season game at home against Georgia on Saturday will also be senior day. So it's crazy how fast this basketball season went. It feels to me anyway. We also had the NFL Combine that happened, and 5 Auburn Tigers participated, and a couple really made waves. Nehemiah Pritchett and Jalen Simpson both performed very well. Both got a lot of attention that maybe they didn't have prior. Nehemiah Pritchett clocked a 4.3640, which clocked him at 23.57 miles per hour. And then Jalen ran a 4.45 40 and made most waves with his backflip in the end zone. So you love to see it. Both of those guys certainly did well, as did all of our guys. But Jalen is actually on Mel Kiper's list of the top 10 prospects that increase their stock at the combine. So he's one of 10 that basically Mel Kiper is saying people should look at this guy if they weren't already. And ultimately, that's what you hope you're going to get out of the combine. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily going to make or break, but you hope that it gets eyeballs on you that weren't already there, or answers questions that were prohibiting teams from taking you seriously. And it seems like Jalen, and certainly Nehemiah and the other guys that did well, but Jalen, I saw a lot more conversation about him than we did going into it.
Yeah, Jalen was one of the guys that could really increase himself,
Mm-hmm.
and like I say, he had a really good year. And from that standpoint, a lot of people just didn't know a lot about him because he
Yeah.
played corner the other years, and this was his first transition over to safety, and he had an outstanding year this year. So people are wondering, like, okay, like how they don't know a lot about him. That's all.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, they know he's a solid football player. So I think he probably moved himself up around. So
Yeah.
whatever round they had him probably going in, he just moved himself up around.
Yeah.
I think the same with Nehemiah. Nehemiah missed the first 3 games of the season, and
Mm-hmm.
so he got off to a slow start. And I don't think people realize how fast he is. But the thing that helps Nehemiah is his size. He's a big
Yeah.
corner and he can run, and he's very athletic. And I think though all those traits right there has propelled him to move up another round. So I think those two guys could actually hear their names called on the first day is the first round, but actually hear their name called
Second.
on the second day at
I
some
think so
point.
too.
So good job by them. I know DJ put on 11 pounds and ran a
Mm-hmm.
4.4. Even with 11 pounds of muscle, he gained during a short amount of time. That's good for him because he's going to need that at the next level. For his D tackles, who we had Justin Rogers and then Marcus
Yep.
Harris. Both of those guys performed, and it's just kind of hard when it comes to D linemen as far as like trying to decide where they're at because theirs is all about the Senior Bowl. Saying
Yeah.
pad and all that type of stuff. You get to this now. There was some offensive linemen that ran some 4.7s and 4.8s, and those big
They
guys
were
was moving.
scooting.
So tell you that these big guys are they can run. So I was very impressed. And the one guy that broke the record, Worthy from Texas, ran a 4.21. He broke
That's
the record
insane.
4.21. I was just like, geez.
How does that
I
even
was
happen?
like these guys, I don't know. That speed kills. And as soon as
It
he
does.
did that, Patrick Mahomes tweet. So just know that Tyreek Hill was one of the last fastest people in the NFL. And what team did he play for before he went to Miami?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Chiefs.
yeah.
So the Chiefs could be lurking.
They always are. They always
And the
are.
Raiders used to always draft fast people, so the Raiders could be lurking too.
Yeah. Did you meet and like kind of hit it off with any guys that you didn't know before going to the combine? Like, I loved the video of Jalen when he landed and everyone was like hyping him up like they were part of his team. And I'm like, I bet some of these guys didn't even know each other at the beginning of the week, you know? It's like
Yeah,
camp.
a lot of guys you don't know until you get there. Not SEC guys we do,
Right,
because
right.
that's you compete again. But like guys from Pac-12, Big Ten, your first time meeting these guys, really like the bowl games, you hit it off with some guys you're playing against. And then once you get to the Senior Bowl, you hit it off with a lot of
Mhm.
guys. And then some of those same guys you're training with, because what you don't realize, a lot of these guys are not training at their college facility, they're training at these individual
Yeah.
facilities. So once the Sugar Bowl was over with, I came back to Auburn for like 2 days. And then I went back to New Orleans and I trained down there. So I was down there with guys from all over the country.
Oh,
And then
that's
like
cool.
Randy, Cadillac, and Los, they went to Arizona and trained. And they was out there with a whole bunch of guys from around the country. So,
Oh, wow.
Los training and me went to the same training. So you meet all these different guys and you go to combine, you're all there together and you're having a good time. And so
That's
that's how
neat.
relationships built.
It's kind of like the first time that you're all on the same page, and it may be the last too, because chances are y'all are all going to go to different teams and be competitors once again. So I don't know. There's like a camp element to it, like when they're all there in their little outfits.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of camp, spring ball continues this week after. I don't understand the structure of this. You have two practices And then you go on spring break. What's the point?
Yeah, yeah. I wanted the same thing. As a player, I've always the last 2 years we've done that. So I don't know if it's
I
because
don't
it's
like
been
it.
previously was that way, but I would almost imagine that Coach Freeze would want to start the second week of March after spring break
Right.
because, like you said, they go 2 days before spring break and then you're gone. And then when you come back, it's every other day until April 6th, which is the spring game.
Right.
And the spring game will not be televised this year.
Yeah.
So if a lot of people want to get a closer look up on what the team may look like this fall, you might want to show up for A Day and be
Or
there. Or you
listen
can
to the excellent radio broadcast.
or you listen to Andy and myself on the radio. I promise I have a little bit better trimmed up hair because we may be on Twitter. But, but yeah, it's I will I tongue twister. I've wondered at myself.
Yeah.
You know, what's the purpose of that? So
Yeah, because I
like
saw Hugh talking about how like this week is, it's time for business. They'll be in pads. Like this is when things really kick up. Well, then what the frick? Why did we even waste those 2 practices? Because you only get a couple limited number that you get to be with the team in spring anyway. And if those two are just it's kind of like syllabus week in college. You remember when you would like go on the first week of classes and the professors would like give you your syllabus, talk about what books you needed, but otherwise you didn't really do anything. That's kind of what that felt like. And then you get all of them out of whatever rhythm. You can't establish any kind of rhythm. I don't know. It seems counterproductive to me, but no one
yeah,
knows.
it is like because when you go on spring break, it's almost like you lose everything. Yeah, you can tell guys, hey, make sure you continue to work out. But some of these guys are in Pensacola, some of them are in Destin,
They're
you
working
know,
out on the beach.
Miami. Yeah, they working out all right. They at the beach. So these guys are enjoying their little free time right now. Cause think about it, we didn't even have NIL back when I played. Now on our spring breaks, I always went home because I wanted to go home, check
Oh,
out some of my old
really?
yeah, check out some of my old friends, see some of the people back from high school, go to some basketball games because it's usually tournament time right now for basketball championships. So I used to go back home, and
You never went on a spring break trip?
mm-mm, I didn't go on a spring break trip.
That's impressive,
I
Jay.
was
That's why you're so successful.
home, but I had some of my friends. They went to Panama City and Pensacola and all these places, and you know, now put 200,000 or 100,000 or 60,000 in these guys' hands and send them on spring break somewhere.
Oh my
18 to
gosh, you're right.
20. 18
I
to
hadn't
22.
even thought about that. I hated spring break. My
Uh,
freshman year, I left early. My sophomore year, I did not go. I went home as well. Junior and senior year, we did like super low key house on the beach, and I was fine there. But the spring break vibe is not my vibe. So I
yeah,
feel you there. Okay, so as far as spring ball goes, any other input that you have heard? We obviously have seen a lot about Cam Coleman. Every article that comes out, honestly, it seems like the media is like even more. We all knew this kid was a beast, but then like already in week 1, everyone's like, "Oh wait, this
yeah.
guy's not just talented. This guy's different."
Oh, yeah.
Um, He's 6'3". He as a true freshman, not even he shouldn't even be there yet. He should be getting ready for prom. You know what I mean?
Which he
Um,
probably still will.
huh?
He probably still will go to prom. He should go
I
to
hope
prom with
so.
extra money in his pocket, so he ain't got to take his girl to Chili's. He can actually take her a
He
nice
can
steak.
take her to a nice dinner before prom. Spring
Some of
for
his
the
friends will be
limo.
mad. Friends will be like, "Hey, dude, what's up? Like, man, like, we can't afford this. What do you mean? Like, but Cam, like,
Now wait a minute. That's an interesting question. Are these kids that are enrolling early, are they able to get money?
yeah, once they first get to school and they enroll and they're in class, and once they're in class for so many days, and then at that point in time, they can come and start their NIL contracts and they
Wow.
start receiving NIL. So that's the best thing about coming in January is, hey, you can
You
start
get your
receiving
money
NIL
sooner.
you're in school. Yeah. So when he
Crazy.
goes back home for spring break, when he goes back to senior prom or graduation, high school graduation, like,
He's
he got a
loaded.
little, he got a little coin in his pocket, So
He
he
really gonna impress all of them now.
he took his prom date and his friends, and they're like, dude, you really gonna outdo us like this? So what's
Yes,
gonna happen? Hey man, you know what? Y'all come on, I got y'all too, man.
I know.
Let's go.
Crazy. Crazy. Well, yes, a lot of feedback about him. Also, apparently, the running backs did a race the other day. Damari was not there, so it was just Brian Battie, Jarquez Hunter, and
Oh, Jeremiah Cobb.
Jeremiah Cobb. Do you have a
Oh,
guess?
I know who won that one.
Oh, you do?
I'm just saying, Brian Battie, because he was a track guy.
Jarquez smoked them both
Stop playing, please.
on Twitter, and
I need to see video.
supposedly they're gonna film one and do it again with Damari there, but that Damari said no, like Hunter, he'll get me,
Hunter beat
both of them,
Jeremiah Cobb,
and
Brian
Brian
Battie.
Battie. Hmm. I
Okay.
know. I know. I mean, it makes you like, I guess, like straightaway speed. We know that Batiste is like super twitchy, can change directions really fast, but maybe just like, and I don't know how long they went, but Jarquez smoked them both. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, see, I want to see at least 40 to 60 yards. I don't want no 20-yard race. I need to
Yeah.
see 40 to 60 yards. Because once you get to 40, you're building up, and then 60, you're hitting top speed.
I wonder if I could find the details of it. And then also, as far as the offense goes, Hugh Freeze was quoted saying that it is Peyton's job to lose, but that kind of just reiterates that what we've known. And one of the position groups that he said he has not the most concern, but what he needs to see a lot of development from is the defensive line. That's what has his focus right now. Have you heard much else out of spring?
The thing that I am hearing is Rico Walker, the
Mhm.
tight end transfer from Maryland, is looking really good, along with Fairweather. I think that's a good sign because you're going to be able to utilize both those guys in the red zone. Like I said, running backs we've already known about. Offensive line, they seem to be really confident in. Like I said, with the guys they have, Jade Muskrat, Connor Lew. You still got Too Tall Miller, Dylan Wade.
Yep.
So there's a lot of depth there in that position. Tyler Johnson is there, the high school kid from last year, is really good. But then corners we're set, linebackers we have depth. Like I said, it all comes down to the D line. And
Yeah.
losing Coach Garrett was a huge loss to
Yep.
Jacksonville Jaguars. But you have talent, but they're young. You have they're very young, but they're super super talented. And
Right.
this can be a group that in 2 years can be dominant. So you're gonna have to lean on Jason Jones. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
lean on Gage Keys, transfer from Kansas. You're gonna have to lean on Trill Carter, transfer from Texas. Jalen McLeod. These guys that are veteran guys, they're gonna have to lead the way until the
Yeah.
TJ Lewis, who's really good, Amari Williams, who's really good. But all these guys are high school guys. Kendrick Falk have to make a big step this year.
Yeah. He
It's
should.
Yeah, so there's talent at that position. It's just a matter of can the veteran guys hold up enough to the young pups can catch up.
Right. It's a good point.
Might be more of a competitive spring game just because it's not televised TV wise. So you
True.
might see them dial up a little bit more plays that they probably wouldn't because it's on TV, and you
That's
might
a
see
good
them.
point.
So it could be a very interesting spring game format this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. We'll see. Any other news and notes? Did I miss anything? Women's basketball?
Women's basketball is 19-10, 8-8 in the conference. Play Arkansas Thursday night at 5 p.m. in Greenville. So huge tournament for that women's basketball team. If they can pull off two
Yeah.
more games in this tournament, they might find themselves in the NCAA tournament, which will be a great building
Yeah.
block for this team moving forward. So wish them all the best and everything this week as the women's tournament kickoff. It's gonna be a fun SEC women's tournament too. Like
Yeah.
a really good women's team. Caitlin Clark, breaking an all-time record. Scoring in college, breaking Pete Maravich record. Like that
That's
stood for years.
crazy.
That tells you a lot about Pete, though. There was no three-point lines when he had this record.
Yeah.
It was all off two-pointers. So
That's
he
crazy.
he was balling, and you see how Caitlin
Wow.
shoots all these threes, right? So just
Yeah. That's
if
how she
three-point
racks them
line
up.
was out, who was playing, what would be the record? Because there was no three-point line. LeBron James broke the 40,000 points ever. No one ever in history have done that. And they broke it in the same week. How crazy is that? Like,
Jeez.
you can't make this stuff up. So,
Literally.
but it's gonna be a fun SEC tournament for men and women. Like I said, gymnastics is going good. Our women are still performing at a high level. I get a
Yeah.
chance to catch on Friday nights. I do watch gymnastics. So if you ask,
Nice.
yeah.
I'm
So
there.
it's yeah. So
Well, I'm excited for them as well. A lot of positive things around Auburn athletics. Feels good. Well, Jay and I are going to prep here for our big Bachelor debut. So
well,
we'll
I'm
bid
excited.
you guys adieu. And
Yeah.
again, if you're a Bachelor fan, keep an eye out for Reality Steve's podcast featuring J Cam and TD. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So, yeah, if your daughter comes to you one day and says, Dad, I'm going on The Bachelor, you're going to say no?
99.9%.
You would be the dad on the show that, like, interrogates the guy and is like, I don't know
Oh,
why y'all are doing this.
I don't know if you ever watched Bad Boys. I would be
I
the
know
guy to tell my friends, come over and we're gonna take this guy to the garage and we're gonna interview him. And I'm bringing in Marcus McNeil. I'm bringing in Ben Grubbs. I'm bringing in, my big dogs I play ball with and just put them all in the garage like we're there having a powwow. And this young buck coming there and I'll be like, hey, sit down, son. Let's talk a little bit. And everybody just kind of surrounding me.
Marcus just standing behind you like,
Yeah, everybody just kind of standing around just looking at it like, you make one move or say something,
one
it's
misstep, boy.
right. And I'm gonna ask him, I'm like, hey, what is this all about? Is this a kissing game? Are you really like feeling my daughter? Are you really trying to pursue her? And like one day, this could be a long-term thing, or you just see this as a game because she ain't giving them no free sugar. And so, you could just, keep it
Get
moving.
on.
Yeah, get on.
Oh my gosh,
So,
that would be iconic. I love that. I can picture all of you doing that, honestly. That is pretty good. She
yeah.
won't need to. I mean, that will be crazy if that show is still around by the time your daughter's ready to get married. Like,
By the
wow.
time
And
it
I'll
be
still be
called,
watching. So there's that.
by that time we call something else. It probably called the I don't who knows.
Who knows? But we're about to go give all of our takes as best as we can. So that'll do it for us this week on Bleav in Everything Auburn. Thank y'all so much for listening and following along. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. You'll get a notification every time we release an episode. You can find us on YouTube, on Bleav's YouTube channel every week if you prefer to watch on video. And we will be back next week in the thick of the SEC basketball tournament. Hopefully, I can come back from the games and give a little bit of insight. So make sure you hang with us. And until we talk again, War Eagle.
Where are you, everybody?